All right, Bears fans, a hell of an offseason coming up for this football team. And if you are excited about the 2023 Bears offseason, then like this video, smash like. Let's get 1,000 or more likes on today's show because I promise you we're going to continue to bring you videos every single day here on this channel. So hit that thumbs up icon and let's jump into the latest rumors. Bear down, everybody. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. And on today's show, we got some juicy trade rumors that we have to dive into, as some relate to the draft and some relate on one specific player. So tune in for that as well. But let's kind of start with the draft. Are the Bears going to trade the number one pick? If I had the Smokin' Jay rumor meter up, I'd go 3 Smokin' Jays because tons of NFL draft buzz around Chicago is discussing the thought of dealing the number one pick, and even Ryan Poles mentioned that on his exit presser yesterday, that it's definitely a possibility. Here's what Albert Breer, NFL Insider, Monday Morning Quarterback, had to say. He said the great thing about the position that they're in, that being the Bears, is that they will probably get something significant for the first pick and use whatever they get to put something better around Justin Fields. And if they do that, they can say, okay, we'll do this and we'll get a bunch of picks. We'll give Justin a better situation and get a cleaner evaluation of him in 2023. And then in 2024, we'll have our QB of the future in Justin Fields, or we'll have a high draft pick or high pick in a draft where Caleb Williams and Drake Maye are coming out. And I think it is valid to mention the 2024 draft being a resource for a quarterback if things don't work out next year. The most ideal strategy for the Bears and outcome is trading out from number one, picking up an extra first-round pick next year, some assets for this year as well, build around Fields this offseason through the draft and free agency, and if he doesn't take the steps needed, especially as a passer in 2023, then you've got that ammunition to go out and get, Drake Maye, Caleb Williams, whoever in 2024 if you are Ryan Poles. I think the Bears owe it to Justin Fields and to themselves as a franchise to see how another 17 games go. Build around him. Yes, is this good enough as a passer? No, the completion percentage needs to go up. The volume of passing yards certainly has to improve. And the interception rate probably needs to go down a little bit, but he took steps in the right direction both as a passer and obviously we know how dangerous he is as a runner. He had an unbelievable season running the football, but at the same time, you also don't want him running for 1,100 yards in a season. Ideally, he'd throw for 3,800 yards and rush for like 800, something like that. If he can take some steps like that, take a massive step as a passer, another 1,200 yards next year, maybe chop off the running by 300 or 400 yards, then you're cooking with gas at that point. But you got to build around him and give him an adequate chance with talent around him to see if he can become that guy. Because we saw enough flashes and enough steps in the right direction with worse personnel this year, by the way, compared to his rookie year, that you have to say, okay, we have to see what this guy can do. Even Ryan Poles said he'd have to be absolutely blown away to draft a quarterback with the number one pick. Now, there's going to be leaks. There's going to be rumors that the Bears are interested in quarterbacks at number one because that helps drive the trade value up, right? So don't be surprised if you hear that. And by the way, Poles would be stupid to not evaluate these quarterbacks. He wouldn't be doing his job. You have the number one pick. You should evaluate everything. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson wouldn't really be in play for that top pick, but you should evaluate all these guys. You wouldn't be doing your job as a general manager if you didn't. And he will and should evaluate the quarterbacks, but I would be surprised if he opted to trade Justin Fields and draft the quarterback number one. Is it impossible? No. Is it likely? I don't think it is. Based on how he's talked, based on what reports are out there, I would be pretty damn surprised if Justin Fields isn't the quarterback come next season. Now, what do you guys think? Should the Bears draft a QB with the number one pick? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Fields is your guy. Fields is my guy. I want to see him be the quarterback of this team. I think we've seen enough positive signs. But if you disagree, type your Y for yes. Now, BetUS is the place to go if you want to go bet on some NFL playoff games. Go gas the Bills because they're playing against Skylar Thompson to officially ruled out from Miami. I think the Bills cover that game. Chatsports.com/Bears, the place to get signed up with BetUS. Use our promo code BEARDOWN to get 125% deposit bonus. It's chatsports.com/Bears, promo code BEARDOWN. Get an extra $125 if you drop $100 when you initially sign up. Now, could the Colts be a team that trade up with the Bears for that number 1 pick? Colts GM Chris Ballard says he's willing to trade up if the right quarterback is there, a.k.a. if they evaluate some guys and we really, really need this guy. Because obviously, since Andrew Luck has left, the Colts have not been able to figure out quarterback. They had Phillip Rivers for 1 year, which was pretty solid, but otherwise, Brissett, Wentz, Matt Ryan, none of it has really worked, and Chris Ballard is on the hot seat and knows he's got to get the quarterback. He even said this. He went as far as saying, I'd do whatever it takes in terms of if he'd trade up for a quarterback. If we thought there's a player that we're driven to get that makes this franchise and the team better, that's what we do. And if you're the Bears, trading with Indianapolis, who has the number 4 pick, that might be the sweet trade down spot. And here's why, because if you look at the NFL draft order here, obviously the Bears sitting with that top pick, shout out Lovie Smith. Colts moved up to number 4 with Denver actually winning their final game. That number 4 spot is the sweet spot in my opinion, because if the Colts trade up, that means they're drafting a quarterback. The Texans are going to draft a quarterback if they sit at 2. Cardinals probably won't, but that means you are guaranteed Will Anderson or Jalen Carter at the number 4 pick. Now, I know some people are down on Carter. He didn't play that great against Ohio State, certainly played better against TCU, but he's still a great talent. Maybe it's Tyree Wilson at number 4. Maybe you trade down a second time from number 4. It gives you even more flexibility, and trading down from 1 to 4 would be far enough where you would also get the Colts first-round pick next year as well. You still would have your own first-round pick in 24, and again, if Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus aren't sold on Fields after 2023, then you'd be in position to move up and go get a quarterback in 2024. Now, we're going to have a new video soon. Bears trade ideas with the number 1 pick. Ideas to move on from the number 1 pick, move down in the draft for either players, picks, combination of both. We'll probably do 5 or 10 trade ideas. We'll probably do several videos around this video topic over the next few months. So subscribe, turn on your notifications, and don't think I forgot. We will do another Bears mock draft this week as well, but did want to mention that we are going to do that Bears trade ideas video as well. So stay tuned, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. All right, speaking of trade rumors, could the Bears trade for DeAndre Hopkins? Report dropping that the Cardinals plan to shop Hopkins this offseason. Obviously, they fired Cliff Kingsbury. Their GM, Steve Keim, will not return either. So Arizona in a bit of a transition year, especially with Kyler Murray, decent chance he's going to miss at least some of next season coming off that torn ACL he suffered late in the year. Now here's Jordan Schultz, formerly of ESPN, now with The Score, says that the Cardinals plan to try and trade DeAndre Hopkins. Hop has 2 years and $34.36 million left on his contract and is likely to seek a new deal. Owner Michael Bidwill plans to express this to GM candidates. So, as they hire their GM, he's going to make it clear, hey, let's trade DeAndre Hopkins. Now, another report says that the Cardinals want a first-round pick, could settle for a second. I'd be shocked if they got a first. I think a second would even be a good haul. But I just think with him 30 years old now, a lot of money, wanting a new deal, getting a first is probably asking a lot for Arizona at this point in time. Now, would you trade a second-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Let me know in the comments. I'd for sure trade a third. Second, I think there's a scenario where I would, and I'll tell you after this YouTube ad break. The scenario where I would trade a second-round pick is if the Bears trade down from number 1 and get an extra second-round pick in addition to the one they have from Baltimore for the Roquan Smith trade, who just got paid as well. I would then trade one of your second-round picks for Hopkins. If you only have 1 second, I'd probably prefer to keep that, I think. But DeAndre Hopkins is still a hell of a player. I know the last couple of years he hasn't played a full season. 2021 had an injury, missed some time. This year, obviously, had the suspension and then missed a couple games with an injury. But when he's played, he's still been damn productive. I mean, if he played 17 games this year, he would have had 1,500 yards on this season. In the last 2 seasons he did play full season, 1165, 1407. He is still very, very productive, and if you plug him into this depth chart, obviously, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool slide down a slot. St. Brown back on a 1-year deal that was announced last week. You've got Velus Jones, and then Dries Fountain, Simba Webster on future deals, Pettis, Harry, and Pringle all free agents. But a trio of Hopkins, Mooney, and Claypool is pretty solid, with hopefully Velus Jones, who finished the season strong, as kind of that gadget guy that can rotate in, run some deep routes, do the jet sweep game as well. I think you'd feel pretty good. You probably add like one other receiver in free agency as like a depth guy, and then you go. That's a pretty solid receiving core with Nuke as your 1, Mooney and Claypool 2, 3, whichever way you want to order it, doesn't really matter. Now, name a player that the Bears should trade for this offseason. Maybe you don't want Hopkins. Maybe you want someone else. Let me know in the comment section if you have someone in mind that you would like to see the Bears trade for. And subscribe, because if the Bears make a trade, we will be going live here on the channel. So hit that YouTube subscribe button here on Bears Now. You're not going to regret it. I'm Harrison Graham. More coverage to come, so stay tuned. We'll see you soon.